The craziest shootout in American history.
Let's start off with a bank robbery that turned into a violent 44-minute standoff against LAPD and SWAT, injuring nearly 20 people and completely destroying 97 vehicles in the process. And ladies and boxheads, I'm talking about the North Hollywood shootout in 1997. But let's take a second to talk about how it even got to this insane shootout in the first place. Our story begins with two men, Larry Phillips Jr. and Emil Matasareanu. So Phillips grew up in California, obsessed with large-scale heists. He was watching movies, reading books, and learning all about them. He also spent a lot of time studying military tactics and collecting a small arsenal, all for his own personal use. This will be important later in the story. He would train at Gold's Gym in Venice Beach, Los Angeles pretty regularly. In 1989, Matasareanu joined the same gym and Larry realized that they had a lot in common. They both enjoyed lifting weights and guns. Total side note, it doesn't really take much more for two guys to become best friends. It turned out that Matasareanu too was involved in minor crimes like small-scale robberies. Larry had just found a partner in crime. He was known for being a very charming and convincing smooth talker, kinda like your boy Boxhead. He began to use those abilities to manipulate Matasareanu into becoming his accomplice. Larry's funky ass wanted to carry out a major heist, where he could score a large chunk of money and he needed someone to help him do it. And so together, they began to prep for this mission. They spent months planning, acquiring military-grade weapons, bulletproof vests, and armored vehicles. Some would say they were bringing in the big guns. Yeah. Alright, I'll stop. On the morning of February 28, 1997, the two men set off to rob the Bank of America. They picked a Friday morning at the end of the month, the day when people's salaries were supposed to come in. The bank was bound to be loaded with cash. The sun was shining over Los Angeles on the morning of February 28, 1997. You would have never guessed that this quiet neighborhood was about to become the scene of one of the most violent shootouts in American history. A white Chevrolet Celebrity arrived at Lauren Canyon Boulevard. Its windows were tinted black. Inside, Larry Phillips Jr. and Emil Matasareanu were locked in, ready to carry out the heist of a lifetime. Their breathing was controlled, they were as calm as a damn boxhead. They spent months prepping, so of course they were calm. I mean, they literally thought everything through. And they might have taken some tranquilizers. The two men were locked and loaded for war, dressed head to toe in homemade bulletproof armor, carrying illegally modified fully automatic assault rifles, and armed with enough ammo to level a small town. Their target was the Bank of America branch at 6600 Laurel Canyon Boulevard. Their watches were synchronized. The job needed to be done in exactly 8 minutes. And for my slower boxheads out there, that's 480 seconds. That's all the time they would need before the police would arrive. So if they took too long, they would be sent to the damn box. Again, see what I did there? I have a box head. Subscribe. Anyways, it was time to get to work. 9:17 a.m. Larry and Emil exit the car, stepping onto the pavement outside the bank. Their thick Kevlar vests and bodybuilder physiques made them look like something out of a damn video game. They didn't look human. Larry looked around to make sure there were no police officers watching them, and there wasn't. Good. Okay, F it, let's go. As they approached the glass doors of the bank, a customer was just about to walk into the bank, and he had seen them. Uh-oh. This poor guy was in the wrong place at the wrong time. And they couldn't risk him running off and informing the police that they were there. And so Larry grabbed him by the shirt and shoved him inside the bank. The man stumbled forward as Larry stormed in behind him. This is a fucking hold-up! Emil fired a burst into the ceiling, sending tiles raining down as the terrified bank employees and customers dropped to the floor. Their screams echoed through the lobby. But Larry wasn't interested in their fear, only their money. Across the street, two LAPD officers pulled up on patrol. They opened a box of donuts ready to chow down on their breakfast for the day. Just, a regular day. Just as one of them bit into their glazed Krispy Kreme, the other one elbowed him hard. He told him to look outside. Something shady was going on. 2 men dressed in all black carrying assault rifles popped out of a white car. They immediately grabbed a customer and stormed inside the building. And they're sitting in the car like there is no way this is a normal bank visit. Moments later, they're sitting and there were gunshots inside. One of the officers quickly grabbed a radio. There was no way they could take this on without backup. Assistance, we have a possible 211 in progress at the Bank of America, North Hollywood. Shots fired! Shots fired! At 9:19 a.m., the call went out. The LAPD was on their way, which means that their 8 minutes had begun. Larry paced the lobby, his AK-47 swinging side to side, with his finger resting on the trigger. Nobody move! Nobody talk! Anyone who dared to lift their head met the cold stare of his black ski mask. Meanwhile, Emil was already hard at work in the vault. He pulled the deputy manager to his feet, dragging him towards the secure cash boxes. Open them now! The manager's hands were shaking as he fumbled with the keys. This made Emil, not so happy. He slammed the butt of his rifle into the man's skull, sending him flying to the floor. The employees flinched, but they kept still because no one wanted to be next. The metal boxes opened. Womp womp. The thing was only half full. These guys were anticipating $750,000. Instead, as Emil dug through the wads of cash, he realized that there was only about $300,000 to $305,000. Which, ladies and boxheads, would have made me a very happy man. I mean, I don't got that much money, but not these guys. Emil began to lose his temper. He ripped open box after box, tossing wads of smaller bills aside. More money! Give me more! The manager was scared for his life as he quietly shook his head. There was no more money. $300,000, I mean, that's all there was. Absolutely pissed, Emil lifted his rifle and fired a furious round of shots into the ceiling. These people needed to be shown that he meant business. Ceiling panels shattered. Plaster dust rained down. The hostages screamed. Outside, the LAPD was closing in. 9:24 a.m., 5 minutes after the call, the police arrived. Larry was now getting antsy. I mean, where the hell was Emil? His gut twisted as he looked out the front door. Something was wrong. The street was empty earlier, no pedestrians and no traffic. But now there was a black and white LAPD cruiser parked just outside. Shit. They were early. Larry stepped outside, scanning the area. The patrol car was standing still, but no cops were seen coming out of it. Something just wasn't right. He turned back towards the bank, and inside, Emil was losing his patience. He fired another burst into the walls, sending fragments of brick and glass flying. Meanwhile, outside, more LAPD units were pulling up. Officers took cover behind squad cars, drawing their standard issue pistols and shotguns. But they had no idea what they were up against. 9:28 a.m. Inside the bank, Larry checked his watch. 11 minutes had passed. The police weren't supposed to arrive during the heist. The plan was already going to hell. And outside, you could hear radio chatter. Be advised, I've got 2 suspects inside, possibly armed with AK-47s. They're wearing ski masks and dark clothing. The responding officers knew they were outgunned, but they weren't going anywhere. Backup was on the way. Now, Larry and Emil had to make a decision. Stay and fight or try to run. With the sounds of sirens getting louder, it was clear. The war was about to begin. Larry orders the security guard to take all the hostages to the vault. And then he and Emil were gonna head for the exit. Outside, the police are waiting, guns drawn, hearts are pounding. The confrontation is moments away, and both sides knew it was going to be a bloodbath. They braced themselves. The first shots explode into the air as Larry Phillips steps out the bank, rifle raised. His modified AK-47 lets loose a deafening burst of automatic fire, sending bullets ripping through the police vehicles. Glass shatters. Officers dive for cover as the windshield of the squad car shatters into 1,000 tiny shards. The power of the automatic fire is unlike anything the LAPD has ever faced. AK-47 down! The radio crackles as officers scramble behind their cars. But the robbers' rounds slice right through the metal. Hood, doors, even engine blocks, none of it offers real protection. Some bullets tear through one side of the vehicles and punch out the other, rolling down the street. Pedestrians caught in the chaos scream and run, ducking behind whatever cover they can find. Larry's attacks continue 200 rounds in literal moments before he ducks back inside the bank. The damage is already severe, 2 officers are hit. A stray bullet has grazed Mildred Nolte, a civilian, across her face. And yet the worst has still yet to come. 9:30 a.m. Larry comes out again, this time with Emil by his side, dragging the heavy duffel bag stuffed with cash. The gunfire resumes instantly. Officer John Caparelli crouched behind his cruiser. He recalls the sound. One AK-47 is bad enough, but when Matasuranu joined in, it was like the Devil's Symphony. Their fire is relentless. Another officer takes a hit to the thigh, his femur shattering on impact. Others try to fire back, but their standard issue 9mm handguns and shotguns barely make a damn dent. The bullets bounce off the robbers' reinforced body armor, leaving them basically untouched. Caparelli later said, "We had pea shooters against armor-piercing rounds. We were in big trouble." The LAPD was ridiculously outgunned, and desperate times calls for desperate measures. Some officers rush into a nearby gun store, grabbing AR-15 rifles in a last-minute effort to match the firepower of the heavily armed robbers. Larry and Emil seem invincible, but finally a lucky shot lands. A police marksman positioned 200 meters away takes a risk. He steps into the open, aims carefully, and Larry stumbles. A bullet has struck him in the back, another in the buttocks. He falls back, and for a second he's dazed. He's angry, really angry. He turns to the police officers again, eyes burning with fury. His response is instant and it's deadly. He starts to go wild. I mean, he's just spraying bullets, but he hits 2 officers, sending them flying to the pavement. The gunfire gets even more violent. The robbers are not just shooting at cops anymore, everyone is fair game. Bullets rip through storefronts, parked cars, even news helicopters, trying to capture the scene on live TV. We've just been informed that the suspect is shooting at our helicopter. We're pulling back. A news reporter yells, their voice shaking over the airwaves. While the gunfire is going on, Emil moved towards their getaway car, struggling under the weight of the stolen cash. But then, a blinding red mist erupts from the bag. The dye packs inside the money was detonated, covering every bill in thick red ink. Their $300,000 haul is ruined. Their grand payday gone in an instant. I could not even imagine this bullcrap happening to me. I think I would rather find out that the plan B I used last night didn't work. Man, what am I saying? Emil stops dead in his tracks. For the first time, a look of panic crosses his face. Larry, however, doesn't seem to care. He's still shooting, still laughing. It's all a twisted game to him. The gunfire rages on, but now Emil is done participating. He's also been hit. Bullets have torn through his armor. One even grazed his eyebrow, leaving a bloody streak across his face. He stumbles towards the getaway car, slides into the driver's seat, and calls out for Larry. "We need to go now!" But Larry's funky ass, yeah, he's not listening. Oh no, ladies and box heads, he's enjoying this. He waves Emil off, slamming the car door shut with his hip. The message is clear, he's not done yet. He wants more. Emil hesitates, checking out their surroundings. He can hear the radios crackling from the inside of the police cruisers. SWAT inbound! Heavy weapons needed! Officers down! If you read the title of this video, SWAT is now coming. And even these 2 gunmen, as invincible as they seem at the moment, are no match for an elite tactical unit. But Larry, Emil had no idea what was going through the man's head. And with me covering this story, me either. He marches on foot through the parking lot, firing all over the place without even looking. His wounds, the exhaustion, and the adrenaline rush are catching up to him. The man is getting tired. The police officers can only watch in disbelief as Larry catwalks across the battlefield, his body untouchable by their bullets. They're walking like they own the place. The officers are saying, "Nothing we have can stop them." With no other choice, Emil makes the desperate call. He rolls the getaway car forward, inching towards the exit. For some reason, he's still trying to wait for Larry, begging him to get in, to escape while they still can. But nope, Larry's still not ready to go. Instead, he ducks behind a semi-trailer, his rifle suddenly silent. Something's wrong. His gun has jammed. And for the first time all morning, Larry is feeling kind of vulnerable. Larry's distracted trying to deal with Larry when a police officer positioned near a trailer spots Emil. Now's his chance. A single shot whistles through the air, smashing through the driver's window. The bullet misses Emil's head by a few centimeters, people. Shit! Emil ducked, slamming his foot onto the gas pedal, turning the wheel as hard as he could. The white Chevrolet turned sharply and sped off, leaving behind a cloud of dust. He practically laid flat in his seat, dodging the incoming rounds. Larry, now left alone, was crouched down behind a truck, still desperately trying to unjam his weapon. His fingers fumbled as he worked the gun, sweating, stinging his eyes. Another officer, Caporelli, took a deep breath and stepped out into the open. Now! He squeezed the trigger, sending rounds towards Larry. Larry's face twisted. A bullet tore right through his right collarbone, and an artery burst. Blood poured from the wound. Gritting his teeth, he pulled out his Beretta pistol and fired back. His aim shaky, his vision blurred. Then, another officer's shot hit his right hand. The pistol fell from his grip, clattering onto the pavement. Larry scrambled for it, snatched it up, placed the barrel under his chin. And ladies and box heads, he pulled the trigger. At 9:56 a.m., Larry Phillips Jr. dropped dead. He had spared the police the trouble and killed himself. And as for Emil, his escape plan was falling apart pretty fast. His car's rear tires were shot out. The windshield was full of cracks and holes. One thing was for damn sure, he needed another car. He slammed the door open and stumbled out, gun in hand. He flagged down a car, a red sedan. Out! Now! The driver looked hesitant. Emil fired a shot into the air. Not today, Satan. The driver thought to himself. He floored it and sped the hell away. Damn it! A beige Jeep was coming towards Emil. He stepped in front of it, weapon raised again. A bullet shattered the Jeep's windshield. The driver, hit by shrapnel, got out and ran for his life, clutching onto his bleeding arm. Emil got into the Jeep, tossing his weapon into the front seat. He twisted the ignition. And, nothing. No! No, 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 no! Come on, start! He punched the steering wheel in frustration. The driver had activated the kill switch. The Jeep was now useless. A police patrol car with 3 SWAT officers skidded to a stop, just feet away. The doors flew open. Emil froze. Ladies and box heads, he was now cornered. For the first time in the battle, the firepower was evenly matched. SWAT officers armed with rifles took position. Emil, now knowing that an escape was impossible, made his final stand. He got out and ran behind his original getaway car, using it as cover. The first shots rang out. SWAT's bullets ripped through the car. Emil fired back wildly, but most of his rounds hit his own car. He reloaded, gritting his teeth red with rage. A bullet slammed into his chest. Another, and another. Yet Emil refused to go down. The officers adjusted their aim. They targeted his legs, the only part of him not covered in armor. Emil screamed as the bullets tore through his thighs and calves. Blood poured onto the pavement, his knees buckled. His rifle slipped from his grasp. He was done. The SWAT team closed in, flipping him onto his stomach, snapping handcuffs onto his wrists. Emil groaned, his voice weak but still defiant. And this is where he declared his famous last words. Shoot me in the fucking head. At 10:30 a.m., Emil Matasareanu bled out and died face down on the pavement before paramedics could even arrive. The North Hollywood shootout was now over. 44 minutes of pure hell. More than 1,700 rounds were exchanged. Over 1,100 from the robbers alone. One shot fired every 2 seconds on average. A battle unlike anything Los Angeles has ever seen. The final death toll was 2. Phillips and Matasareanu. 12 officers were wounded, some so severely that they could never serve again. 8 civilians were injured, 12 police cars were destroyed, 85 civilian vehicles riddled with bullets. Anything Los Angeles has ever seen. The final death toll was 2. Phillips and Matasareanu. 12 officers were wounded, some so severely that they could never serve again. 8 civilians were injured, 12 police cars were destroyed, 85 civilian vehicles riddled with bullet holes, countless walls, windows, and signs scarred from gunfire.
Is that GTA mission? Were you in that bulletproof?
Of the film Heat, a crime thriller featuring an extremely similar shootout. It seemed that the fiction had become reality. Police also raided the robbers' homes, seizing multiple firearms. These men had a history of robbing banks. No, seriously, they had been responsible for stealing over $1.5 million in a number of previous heists. But as for where all the money went, the evidence was never found. Look, this shootout didn't result in any innocent people dying, but not all stories end like that. In this video, I talk about many stories where the shooter ended the lives of innocent people in schools. The worst part about it is that many people don't even know that it happened. So if you do want to hear those stories, click this video right here.
No, that's fucking insane. That's fucking insane.